She ghosted me for 3 years. The day I started dating a wealthy guy, she missed me. My best friend disappeared from my life for almost 3 years. No fight, no explanation. Then I started dating a wealthy guy, and she suddenly texted, "I miss you so much, let's catch up." I didn't answer right away. I stayed calm, opened a folder called Receipts, and waited, because I knew she didn't come back for me. My name is Sophie. I'm 28, and I live in Seattle. I used to think ghosting only happened in dating. Then my best friend did it to me. Kara and I met in college. We weren't casual friends. We were the kind of friends who had each other's apartment codes and shared shampoo without asking. We did everything together for years. Birthdays, breakups, random Tuesday dinners. She was the person I texted first when anything happened. Then I had a rough year. It wasn't dramatic in a movie way. It was the slow, real kind of hard. I lost my job after a company restructure. I went through a breakup that wasn't explosive, just quiet and final. My savings shrank fast, and my confidence shrank faster. I didn't ask Kara for money. I didn't ask her to fix it. I asked for normal friend things. Can we get coffee? Can I vent for 10 minutes? Can you come over? I'm spiraling. At first she responded. Then she got busy. Then she got quiet. Eventually my texts looked like one-sided postcards. Hope you're okay. Miss you. Are you alive? No response. No fight, no closure. Just absence. If you were me, would you confront her? I tried once. Gently. Kara, did I do something? I feel like I lost you. She replied 2 days later. Sorry, babe. Life is crazy. Love you. Then she disappeared again. So I stopped chasing her. That part wasn't brave. It was survival. You can't keep begging someone to care. I rebuilt my life without her. I got a new job. I got back into a routine. I started therapy because I didn't want to carry the bitterness into my next chapter. And one of the first things my therapist told me was simple. Notice who shows up when you have nothing to offer. That sentence stayed in my head. 2 years passed, almost 3. And then I met Miles. Miles is 31. He's the kind of guy who's calm without being boring, confident without being loud. We met through a mutual coworker at a casual happy hour. He listened more than he spoke. He asked real questions. He didn't try to impress me. The wealthy part came later. Not because he told me, but because it became obvious in small ways. He lived in a building with a concierge. He never flinched at bills. He didn't treat money like a personality, but he treated it like something that should reduce stress, not create it. One night, after 3 months of dating, he admitted it plainly. My family has money, he said. I do well. I don't talk about it much because it attracts weird behavior. I laughed softly. What kind of weird behavior? He smiled. People show up who weren't there before. That line felt oddly specific. I didn't tell Kara about Miles. Not because I wanted to hide him. Because Kara wasn't in my life anymore. Then, on a random Thursday, I posted a photo on my story. Nothing flashy. Just me and Miles at a Mariners game, hot dogs, stupid smiles, normal couple energy. Within 20 minutes, my phone buzzed. A text from a number I hadn't seen in years. Kara. Oh my God, Sophie. I miss you so much. Can we please catch up? I've been thinking about you. I stared at the screen. My first reaction was almost joyful. Not because I trusted her. Because some part of me still wanted my old best friend back. Then my second reaction hit. Why now? She vanished when I was unemployed, heartbroken, rebuilding. And she returned the day my life looked shiny. If you were me, would you respond? I didn't respond immediately. I opened a folder in my notes app and named it Receipts. I didn't know what I'd need it for yet. But I knew this situation could turn into Sophie is dramatic the second I set a boundary. I waited an hour, then replied with a neutral sentence. Hey, it's been a long time. What's up? Kara responded instantly. I've been so busy, I feel awful. Can we do brunch this weekend? Also, tell me everything about your life. Everything. Not, how are you? Not, I'm sorry. Everything. I said yes to brunch, but I picked a public place near my apartment. I wanted home field calm. Saturday came. Kara walked in like we'd never been apart. Big hug, loud laugh. There's my girl. She looked the same. Glossy hair, perfect nails, curated energy. She sat down and immediately started with compliments. You look amazing. You look so happy. You look like you're thriving. Then, within 5 minutes, she asked the question. So, who is he? I blinked. Who? She smiled. The guy in your story. I sipped coffee. His name is Miles. Kara leaned forward. What does he do? I answered vaguely. Finance. Kara's eyes lit up. Oh my God. Then she said something that made my stomach tighten. He looks like he takes care of you. I stared at her. What does that mean? Kara laughed. You know, like, he has it together. Then she asked, is he rich? There it was. Not, are you happy? Not, does he treat you well? Rich. I kept my face calm. He does well. Kara smiled like she'd solved something. Okay, she said. We need a double date. Like, soon. I laughed softly. Why? Because I want to meet him, she said. And also, I want him to meet Jay. Jay was her boyfriend. I'd never met him. Because I hadn't been in her life. I said, calm, let's slow down. We're catching up first. Kara's smile flickered. Right. Of course. Then she said, also, I have a tiny favor. Favor. We were 10 minutes into our first brunch after 3 years. She hadn't apologized once. And now she wanted a favor. I didn't say no immediately. I just said, what is it? Kara lowered her voice. I'm short on rent this month. It's embarrassing. Can you spot me? Like, just a little. I stared at her. Not because she asked for help. Because she hadn't been there when I needed emotional support, and now she wanted financial support after seeing my upgrade. I asked, how much? Kara hesitated, then said, 2,000. 2,000? Not small, not casual. I kept my voice steady. I can't do that. Kara's face changed fast. She laughed like I was joking. Sophie, come on, you have a rich boyfriend now. My chest went cold. There it was again. She didn't return for me. She returned for access. I stayed calm and said, Miles' money is not my money, and my money is not available like that. Kara leaned back and crossed her arms. Wow. I didn't argue. I took one sip of coffee and said, Kara, why did you disappear? She waved a hand. I didn't disappear. Life happened. I asked, for 3 years. She rolled her eyes. You're holding grudges. I smiled politely. I'm asking a question. Kara's jaw tightened. You were always intense. Intense. That was her first attempt to label me. I nodded slowly. Okay. We finished brunch with fake smiles. When we stood up to leave, Kara hugged me again and whispered, I'm glad you finally got what you deserve. What you deserve. It sounded like kindness, but it landed like a backhanded compliment. Like she thought I'd been beneath this level before. I went home and sat on my couch, staring at the wall. Then my phone buzzed. Kara texted me. Send me Miles's Instagram. I want to follow him. I didn't reply. Instead, I screenshot the message and saved it. Receipts. Because I knew this wasn't over. And I was right. When Miles said Kara messaged him, my stomach dropped, but I kept my response calm. I asked, what did she say? Miles replied, nothing explicit. Just, you seem great. Sophie is lucky. Would love to meet you. It looked harmless. That was the problem. Kara is best at harmless. Harmless messages that create access and later become, I was just being friendly. I told Miles, don't respond, don't accept, let me handle it. Miles replied, okay. Then he added, this is what I meant about weird behavior. I exhaled slowly, because I felt embarrassed for bringing this into my relationship, even though I didn't invite it. I texted Kara one line, please don't message Miles. She replied instantly, oh my God, I was just being nice. You're being possessive. Possessive. That word is how she turns boundaries into a character flaw. I replied, calm. It's a boundary, respect it. Kara took 10 minutes this time, then sent, fine, tell him to accept me. I want to see your stories. I didn't respond. I saved the messages. Receipts. If you were me, you might block her right there. I considered it. But I wanted to see the pattern fully before I made the final cut, because I knew she'd try to recruit mutual friends. And she did. 2 days later, Denise, a coworker friend of mine, texted, hey, Kara messaged me asking about Miles. She said you're being weird and she's worried about you. I stared at the text. So Kara was already building her story. I replied to Denise, calm. I'm fine. Kara is pushing boundaries. Please don't engage. Denise replied, got it. That's weird. Then Kara escalated. She sent me a long text at midnight. I've been your best friend for years. You can't cut me out now. You wouldn't be where you are without me. Without her. That line made me laugh quietly because it was so disconnected from reality. I replied, calm. Kara, you weren't there for me when I was rebuilding. Please stop contacting my friends and my boyfriend. Kara replied, you're acting like you're better than me. I didn't answer. Because no reply is sometimes the cleanest boundary. That weekend, Kara posted a vague story. Some people switch up when they get a rich man. No name. But it was aimed. People messaged me asking what happened. I didn't respond publicly. I didn't want a story war. Instead, I did something boring and strategic. I called my brother, Ethan. Ethan is younger than me and not sentimental about friend drama. I told him everything. He said, she's using you. I said, I know. He said, then treat it like a system, not a friendship. That line mattered. Because I'd been treating it like a friendship problem, which made me emotional. It was a system problem. So I wrote a simple plan. One final boundary message to Kara, in writing. If she violates it again, block and stop. Quietly warn key friends with one sentence, no drama. I sent Kara the final message. Kara, do not contact Miles. Do not contact my friends about him. Do not post about me. If you do, I will block you and we will not speak again. Kara replied with a laughing emoji, then wrote, you won't. You need me. That sentence told me everything. She believed she owned a place in my life, regardless of how she treated me. Then she did the thing that made it impossible to pretend she was just curious. She showed up at my apartment building, unannounced. My front desk called me. Hi, Sophie. There's a guest here asking for you, Kara. I felt my stomach tighten. I asked the desk, is she on the approved list? No, they said. I said, do not let her up. The desk said, okay. Then Kara texted me. I'm downstairs, come get me. I replied, calm. No, please leave. Kara wrote, you're really going to do this, you're embarrassing me. I didn't respond. She called twice, I didn't answer. Then she texted, if you don't come down, I'll tell people you're hiding something. That was the moment I understood she wasn't coming for closure. She was coming for leverage. I took screenshots. Receipts. I stayed upstairs. 10 minutes later, Miles texted me. I'm outside. Want me to come in? He had been coming over for dinner. I wrote back, wait in your car for a second. I didn't want Kara to see him. Not because he needed protection. Because Kara wanted a photo. A moment. A story. Kara eventually left, but not before sending one last message. Tell your rich boyfriend I said hi. He looked at me like I was nothing. He never saw her. Which meant she was inventing scenes now. The next day, I met Miles and told him everything, including the rent request. Miles listened quietly. Then he said, calm. She's not your friend. She's a person who wants proximity. Proximity. That word fit perfectly. Because Kara didn't miss me. She missed access to whatever she believed my life had become. Miles asked, do you want to block her? I nodded. Yes. But first I'm going to do one last thing. I was going to ask her a direct question that couldn't be dodged. I texted Kara. Why did you leave when I was struggling? Kara replied, because you were depressing, and I needed better energy. I stared at the screen. That was her truth. Not busy. Not life happened. Depressing. Then I replied, calm. Okay. Then don't come back now. Kara responded. Whatever. I just thought you'd be generous now. Generous. With my boyfriend's money. I didn't reply. I blocked her. Then I sent one calm message to Denise and Nina, 2 friends Kara had contacted. Kara and I are no longer in contact. Please don't relay messages or discuss Miles with her. No drama. Just a boundary. I thought that would end it. It didn't. Because the next week my mom called. And my mom said, Sophie, why did Kara call me asking about your boyfriend? My stomach dropped. Because now she was expanding outward. And if Kara could recruit my family, she could rewrite my story anywhere. When Kara messaged Miles from a second account, I didn't feel shocked. I felt confirmed. Because there are people who accept a no, and there are people who treat no as a challenge. Kara was the second type. Miles didn't respond. He screenshot it and sent it to me immediately. He said, tell me what you want me to do. I took a breath and said, block, and don't engage. Miles did. Then he said, "Do you want me to talk to her?" Directly. I shook my head. No, that feeds it. Because Kara wanted a conversation. Any conversation. A conversation is a relationship, and she wanted to claim one. So instead, I did the next boring adult thing. I documented the entire chain. Her first text to me after my story post. The rent request. Oh, her message asking for Miles' Instagram. Her calling me possessive. Her showing up at my building. Her admitting she left because I was depressing. Her message to my mom. The second account message to Miles. Receipts. Then I asked one question I hadn't asked yet. How did she know your last name? I asked Miles. Miles blinked. What? She messaged my mom about you, I said. How did she know anything about you if I didn't tell her? Miles thought for a moment. Then he said, she probably searched. And that's when I remembered something. Kara used to brag about being good at finding things. She'd say, I can find anyone online in 10 minutes. I used to laugh. Now I didn't. So I did a quick privacy sweep. I tightened my social media settings. Miles tightened his too. We removed public tagging where possible. And I warned my family. I texted my mum. Please don't discuss Miles with Kara. We're not friends anymore. She's pushing boundaries. My mom replied, Oh, honey, she sounded worried about you. Worried. That word again. I replied, calm. She's not worried. She asked me for money and tried to message Miles. My mom went quiet for a while. Then she texted, Okay, that's odd. The next escalation came from a mutual friend group. A friend I hadn't spoken to in a year texted me, Hey, Kara says you changed and you're acting superior. Is everything okay? I felt my chest tighten, but I stayed calm. I replied, I'm okay. Kara crossed boundaries. I'm not discussing details. Then I saved the message. Because now Kara was doing what people like Kara do. She was running a social campaign, not to get me back, to make herself look like the abandoned victim. That's why this kind of betrayal is so exhausting. It's not one conversation. It's a network. So I made a decision. I would do one controlled exposure, not a public blast, not a messy argument, a private, calm statement to the small group of people who mattered. Tori, Nina, Denise, my brother, and one mutual friend who tends to spread things. I wrote, Just a heads up, Kara and I are not in contact. She ghosted me for years, returned after seeing my relationship, asked me for money, and messaged my boyfriend after being told to stop. I'm not asking you to pick sides. I'm asking you not to relay messages. Then I attached 3 receipts only. Kara's rent request line, you have a rich boyfriend now. Kara's message, because you were depressing. Kara's message to Miles from the second account, Sophie is controlling. That was enough. I wasn't trying to humiliate her. I was trying to prevent a rewrite. Almost immediately, Denise replied, I'm sorry. That's not okay. I won't engage. Nina replied. She tried to message my cousin too. I thought it was weird. That message made my stomach drop. Because it meant Kara wasn't just targeting my relationship. She was targeting proximity to anyone she thought had access. Miles read the replies and said, She's shopping for a door. That line hit. Because it was exactly what it felt like. Kara wasn't lonely. She was opportunistic. Then, 2 days later, Kara did the thing that forced a final confrontation. She emailed my workplace. Not directly accusing me. A concern email. She wrote that I was under stress and might be making unstable decisions, and that my company should check in. HR forwarded it to me. My hands went cold, because she crossed into my livelihood now. This wasn't friendship drama anymore. This was interference. I called HR calmly and said, This is a personal matter. I have documentation. I am safe and stable. Please block this sender. HR thanked me and said they'd note it. Then I called a lawyer. Not to sue for drama. To ask what to do when someone keeps escalating unwanted contact. Miss Lynn listened and said, Send one formal cease contact message. If she continues, you keep documenting. And if she shows up again, you call building security. We drafted a short email and sent it to Kara's known email addresses and accounts. Kara, do not contact Sophie, her workplace, her family, or her partner. Any further contact will be documented. Kara replied with one sentence. You can't scare me. You owe me. Ove. That word was the most revealing. I replied, calm. I owe you nothing. Then I stopped. Because from this point forward, the goal wasn't to convince Kara. It was to protect my life. And then Miles said something that made me pause. He said, I want you to know something. I'm not going anywhere. I'm not impressed by her. I'm impressed by you. That's what Kara didn't understand. She assumed rich boyfriend meant easily swayed. But Miles wasn't a prize. He was a person, and he saw exactly what she was doing, which meant her plan was failing. So she tried a new plan, a bigger one. She invited herself to my birthday party. She texted Tori, claiming she had been invited already. Tori called me and said, Sophie, do you want me to handle this? I said, no, I will. Because if I wanted this to end, I needed to set the boundary directly, with witnesses. So I texted Kara one last time from a fresh number, just for clarity. You are not invited to my birthday. Do not come. Kara replied, then I'll come for Miles' birthday. You can't stop me. I stared at the screen, and I realized something. She had never cared about my birthday. She cared about access. When I saw Kara outside the restaurant, my first instinct was to freeze, because she looked so confident. She was dressed well, hair done, makeup perfect, gift bag in hand. Like she was the wrong person in the right scene. My friends inside the restaurant were laughing, ordering appetizers, taking photos. I didn't want my birthday to become another Kara event. But I also wasn't going to let her walk in and perform best friend in front of people she'd already tried to recruit. So I stood up calmly, walked to the front, and told the host, that woman is not invited. Please don't seat her. The host looked at me, polite but confused. I said, calm. She's not welcome. If she insists, call security. The host nodded. Okay. Then I did something else calm. I opened my phone and started recording audio in my pocket, not faces. Just my voice, stating date and location. Because Kara lies best when there's no record. I stepped outside. Kara smiled big. Happy birthday, she said. Like we were close again. I kept my voice low. You're not invited. Kara's smile tightened. Sophie, don't be weird. I replied calm. Leave. Kara leaned closer and whispered, you're acting like you own him. I stared at her. I'm acting like I own my life, I said. Kara's eyes flashed. You think you're better now. I said, you ghosted me for years. Kara waved a hand. You're still on that. Yes, I said, because that's the truth. Kara lifted the gift bag slightly. I brought something for Miles, too. That sentence made my stomach turn, because it confirmed again that she was there for access, not for me. I said, calm. Do not bring gifts for my boyfriend. Leave. Kara's voice rose, just enough for the host and a couple passing people to hear. Wow, you are controlling. This is why people leave you. There it was. She was trying to create an audience and make me the villain. I didn't rise to it. I said, calm and clear, Kara, you contacted my workplace and my family. You messaged my boyfriend from multiple accounts. You are not welcome. Kara's face went pale for a second. Then she recovered. She laughed too loud. You're lying. I looked at the host and said, calm, please call security. The host stepped inside. Kara whispered, furious, you are humiliating me. I replied, you humiliated yourself when you showed up uninvited. Kara's eyes filled, but not with real sadness. With performance. Everyone is going to see who you are, she said. Then she did something I didn't expect. She raised her voice and said, I needed help, and you turned your back on me. Help. Now she was trying to frame me as the villain again. If you were me, would you defend yourself in the street? I didn't. I asked one question. Calm. Why did you disappear when I needed help? Kara blinked. Then she said, because you were depressing. Depressing. She said it out loud. The same word she texted me. And she said it in front of the host, who had stepped back outside now. Kara realized instantly she'd slipped. Her face tightened. Then she tried to recover. I didn't mean it like that, she said quickly. I said calm. You meant it. You said it twice. Security arrived. Not dramatic. Just a staff member and a manager. They asked Kara to leave. Kara looked at me with pure anger and said, Miles will get tired of you. Then she walked away. I went back inside and sat down. My hands were shaking slightly, but my voice stayed steady. Tori looked at me and said, was that Kara? I nodded. Nina said, "Did she leave?" I said, "Yes." Then I did something I hadn't done yet. I told the table, calmly, in 1 minute, what had been happening. Not every detail, not a rant, just the pattern. She ghosted me for years. She came back when I started dating Miles. She asked me for money. She messaged Miles. She contacted my mom and my work. I set boundaries. She didn't stop. The table went quiet. Then Denise said, "That's insane." Tori said, "I'm glad you didn't let her in." My phone buzzed. A message from Kara. "You'll regret this." I didn't respond. I saved it. Receipts. The rest of the dinner went on. We laughed. We ate cake. We took photos. And for the first time in weeks, I felt calm. Because Kara had finally forced the boundary into the open, and I had held it without screaming. The next day, Kara tried the final pivot. She posted online, "I'm proud of myself for walking away from toxic friendships." People commented hearts. I didn't respond. Because at this point, anyone who believed her without asking me wasn't someone I needed close anyway. Then, 2 days later, I got a message from Kara's boyfriend Jay. He wrote, "Hey, I think Kara has been lying about a lot. Did she really ghost you?" I stared at the message, then replied calmly, "Yes. For years." Jay replied, "Okay, that's what I thought." I didn't ask questions. I didn't dig. Because I didn't want Kara's life. I wanted my peace. But Jay's message told me something important. Kara's pattern didn't stop with me. It was who she was. And eventually, patterns get exposed by life itself. Not by your arguing. By time. When Kara emailed me admitting she wanted access to Miles' network, I didn't feel triumphant. I felt sad. Because a part of me still remembered the version of Kara who used to sit on my bed and talk me through breakups like a sister. But I also felt something else. Closure. Because she finally said the quiet part out loud. I wanted access. Not, "I missed you." Not, "I'm sorry I left." Access. I forwarded the email to myself and saved it. Receipts. Then I replied with one sentence. "Thank you for the honesty. Do not contact me again." No insults. No lecture. Just a closed door. Kara responded 5 minutes later. "You're cold." I didn't reply. Because cold is what people call you when you stop being available for manipulation. After that, the noise faded. Not immediately, but steadily. Mutual friends stopped bringing her up. My mom stopped getting messages. My workplace never got another email. Miles and I kept dating, normally. We went on hikes. We cooked dinners. We argued about which show to watch. Normal relationship things. And I noticed something important. My relationship didn't feel like winning. It felt like peace. That was the real proof that Kara's worldview was wrong. She thought a rich boyfriend was a trophy. Miles was just a person who happened to have money and also happened to be loyal, calm, and steady. He never once treated my boundaries as insecurity. He treated them as self-respect. One night, months later, Miles asked me, "Do you ever miss her?" I thought for a moment. "I miss the idea of her," I said. "I don't miss the reality." Miles nodded. "That's honest." Then he asked, "Do you feel guilty?" I shook my head. Not anymore. Because that's what this story really is. It's a guilt story. Kara wanted me to feel guilty enough to give her access. Guilty enough to tolerate disrespect. Guilty enough to let her rewrite my life as her opportunity. And when I stopped feeling guilty, her power disappeared. A final update. Jay, Kara's boyfriend, broke up with her a few months later. He didn't tell me details. He didn't need to. He just messaged Nina one day and said, "Thanks for warning Sophie's circle. I get it now." Kara tried to come back again after that. Not through Miles, through nostalgia. She sent a long message to an old email address of mine, saying she missed our era, and she was sorry for being immature. I didn't respond, because apologies without changed behavior are just new attempts. My friends supported me in the quiet way that matters. They didn't gossip about Kara. They didn't feed her posts with comments. They didn't ask me to be the bigger person for free. They just kept showing up. And that's what I learned. Some people call themselves your best friend when it's convenient. Real friends prove it when you're inconvenient. And the final truth, the one that makes the title land. Kara didn't ditch me because she was busy. She ditched me because she didn't want to be near struggle. Then she returned because she wanted to be near perceived status. That's not a friendship. That's proximity chasing. So when people ask why I didn't forgive and move on, my answer is simple. I did move on. I moved on from the version of my life where I had to audition for loyalty. And once I moved on, the right people stayed. The wrong people showed their motives. And my peace got quieter. That's the payoff. Not a public takedown. A private life that doesn't get hijacked. One last thing. If someone disappears when you're struggling and returns when you're thriving, that's not love, that's access chasing. Protect your peace early. If you like calm, documentary-style stories with receipts and a real payoff, subscribe. I post long-form stories like this regularly, and the next story starts with, "I miss you," and ends with a screenshot that changes everything.